We got Utah and Washington on tap. You know, two teams that are kind of battling it out here, right? I mean, Utah is still alive in this thing, and Washington right now is undefeated, Chris. Talk to me a little bit about the Huskies.
Yeah, and I'll make this one quick. I know I rattled on there with the previous segment, but we know what Washington is, man. 9-0, you know, the big win over USC last week, I think in a shootout, in my opinion. Not a lot of defense was played until the fourth quarter, until Washington got a hold of themselves and pulled that game out. This game to me is a clash of way different styles, in my opinion. You got Washington, who hangs their hat, you know, on offense, puts up tons of numbers with Penix and those wide receivers. And you got Utah, who's just every year under Kyle Whittingham is a tough defense. They play hard. They're not near as talented as most teams, but boy, they play tough over there. Just a clash of two different styles of teams here, which should be a good game. I truly believe that. But, you know, overall, man, Washington, I want to talk about them for a second. I know we got a resident fan on the show most of the time, and Daniel, but Washington, after the win after Oregon, Christian, we've talked about this, it is almost like they haven't shown up the past couple of weeks. You know, they put, 15 points up against Arizona State, who Utah just dropped a 50 bomb on last week, which says a lot about Utah and their offense. And we've talked about that this year too. But, you know, last week, the defense not really showing up against USC. I know it's Caleb Williams. I get all of that. But I've been really high on Washington most of the year, and I thought they probably had the best defense right up there with Utah in the Pac-12. I'm not sure what's going on in Washington. Something is not clicking. Something doesn't look right, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying, jump off the ship and Washington's no good. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they got to get it together this week, because if you don't come correct against Utah, Utah's going to win this game. And then the Pac-12 is going to have a shit show as far as a bunch of 1 and 2 loss teams battling it out. And, hey, I know me and you talked about it. We want to see the Washington-Oregon matchup, Christian, but give me your thoughts on Utah right here and what you think.
Yeah, man, I think, first of all, Utah, this is a team with Whittingham over there that is built on the defensive side of the ball. Now, they struggled at certain points this year trying to figure out who was going to step up and replace Cam Rising, a guy that we thought up until a couple weeks ago, every week he was week to week. And then it turns out he's season to season at this point. But Bryson Barnes, I think, has settled in. He's become their guy. You know, he's not sexy. He's not going to probably finish the year with 20 touchdowns, right? But the guy's a winner. I mean, he can do what he needs to do, and this team is winning. They are a team that is, if you want to think about it, they're a no-name team that gets results, Chris. They're just a good football team that plays, you know, smash-mouth defense football, and they run the ball, and they're very effective at what they do, and they just spread the ball around. And that's phenomenal. They've got 2 quarterbacks they can lean on. They've got, a million different athletes they can throw back there at running back that look fantastic. I mean, the passing game's not necessarily all that great, but hey, look, like you said, Chris, they put up 55 points. They beat them 55-3 after taking that 35-6 L at Oregon, right? The Oregon loss, say what you want to. I think Oregon's maybe one of the more complete teams in the country. The question, and you touched on it, Chris, the biggest question mark to me is going to be Washington's defense. If Washington's defense doesn't come correct in this game, they're going to let Utah stay in it. And if you let Utah stay in a game with you late, bad things happen, right? It's a 2:30 game our time, right? That's what is that? West Coast time. That's like an early game for them, right?
It's like 12:30 over there. Super early.
So weird things always happen in the Pac-12, early and late. Most conferences, it always happens early and late. So we'll end up seeing, right? With that being said, Barnes has got to come out. He's got to play good. He doesn't have to out-duel Penix here necessarily, right? He just has to play within himself, lead the team down the field, and they got to be able. They can't win this game taking field goals. They're going to have to win it by scoring. And you got to get a stop also on Penix. Chris, I'll go ahead and give you my predictions. I got Utah in an upset here, 28, Washington 24.
Woo! Wow, he's on the upsides tonight, guys. I'm close with you. I believe this game will either be super tight or a Washington blowout, kind of similar to what happened to Utah against Oregon a few weeks ago, but I think it's going to be tight overall. I lean that way. Give me Utah 20, Washington 27.